Welcome back to another episode of the Shine Within podcast. Jana is a fitness expert dedicated to empowering women over 40 with workouts that foster strength, confidence, and vitality. As a certified TACFIT instructor and personal trainer, she focuses on exercises that adapt to women's unique life stages, promoting graceful aging and robust health. Her training emphasizes ancient warrior techniques with modern approaches, aiding women to finding their inner strength. Residing in New Zealand, Yana is also a mother of three who enjoys the outdoors and surfing, sharing her journey to inspire women to feel invincible at every age. I love that, Yana. Thank you so much for joining me on my show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Gina. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm looking at your background right now and it looks just so calm and beautiful and very like I need to be there right now.
Yeah, it's lovely. I'm very lucky. Yeah, I live in Wellington, the capital of New Zealand, and I live right by the ocean, which is just lovely.
Beautiful. Well, Yana, you talk about helping women over 40 transition to a new way of training that aligns with their life stage. Can you actually share more about what inspired you to focus on this demographic and approach?
I fell into it quite accidentally, actually. So I used to, when I first started working as a personal trainer and a TACFIT coach, I used to coach TACFIT classes. I was coaching everyone and anyone, so men and any age. And then about a year later, I analyzed my clients and then I realized that about 90% of them were women over the age of 40. And I think that I somehow drew women of that demographic to me because I was also a woman in my 40s. So I understood what it feels like to be in a body that is maybe starting to feel a little bit of perimenopausal symptoms. I knew what it felt like to grow babies, birth babies, and look after babies, and just kind of all the challenges and transitions and changes that come with midlife or with being in our 40s, and also the switch which we talked about before we hit play is how the focus changes for many women in their 40s from using exercise as a way to lose weight or look a certain way to more about longevity, vibrant health, moving and living pain-free.
Yeah, I was just thinking about back in the 90s, the Cindy Crawford workout videos that I used to do when I was in fifth grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah, with the conditioning that we had, with looking at the Victoria's Secret models, in magazines and Glamour, 17 magazine. Those were my idols back then. Like I was looking at these girls like, I want to look like that. Well, first off, my body structure is not even that.
Yeah.
I am
Genetics.
like mostly like muscular, and I have thick thighs that are, my mom always says I have beautiful thighs, and I always hate it on myself all the time looking at them like, oh, they have cellulite on the side and they don't look good. I was always comparing myself to somebody. And I remember I would torture myself with exercise because I wanted to look a certain way. I wanted to feel a certain way. Trust me, I did not feel good. I was super sore. And I wanted to quit every like New Year's week, the week of January 1st, those resolutions and things. So, I had my fair share of torturing my body. And now I'm at a place where I'm 42, like I mentioned to you before. I'm at a place where I'm just wanting to be more in tune to my body and listen to my body and love my body and and treat it gently, So I am loving the exercises that my coach has been giving me lately, and they're just really gentle and they're perfect for my lower back because I've been in accidents and things like that. But yeah, so thank you for what you do. It's amazing. I was going to ask you, in your experience, what are some of the most common myths about fitness and movement that you actually encounter, especially regarding how women, in midlife should be training?
So the prevailing myths that I'm trying to bust, probably the biggest one is that women are not small men.
Yeah.
it sounds quite simple and obvious, yet most women are training as if they were smaller men. Because what a lot of women and a lot of coaches sadly do not understand is that women and men have very different hormonal cycle. So men run on a 24-hour hormonal cycle. So they kind of get through their entire kind of hormonal window in 24 hours, which means that they can train pretty much in the same way all the time. So whether they have a training schedule that's Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday, or 6-week training schedule or 12-week training schedule, they can kind of go and recover fairly quickly. Women, on the other hand, as you are aware, we have a 28 to 31 day hormonal cycle. So training like men do really doesn't suit us, because within that 20, I'm just going to use the number 28 for, you know, I know that many women fluctuate and every month is different, but I'm just going to use the number 28 just for the sake of the argument, is that within the 28-day window, we go through quite significant hormonal changes. We go from estrogen dominance to progesterone dominance. And what many women don't understand, that, for example, progesterone is incredibly sensitive to stress, and exercise is a stress. It's a physical stress on our body. So I think that what a lot of coaches miss and what a lot of women miss is that we really should be structuring our training schedule on a 28-day cycles. So that is really the one biggest myth I would like to bust, and the biggest kind of piece of knowledge that I would like women to know is to be kinder, as you said, to be kinder to their bodies and realize that there is a lot going on inside their bodies within that month. And this even goes for women who are already in perimenopause, and to an extent in menopause as well, because we never stop producing certain amount of hormones, even in menopause. Maybe our ovaries have kind of retired and said, we've done our bit. Thank you. You know, this is our retirement now. You know, we're still making a form of estrogen in our adrenal glands. So you will never stop. You're never going to magically turn into a little man, right? Once you go through menopause, we're still women. We're still a very cyclical human beings. You know, we really respond to the ebb and flow of the moon and the oceans, and our cycles are really reflecting that. So that would be the biggest probably myth or lack of knowledge that I would like to bust and you know, kind of scream from the rooftops, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Now, that's why I was always attracted to having a female trainer rather than a male trainer. Male trainers, like, they don't, they're not women,
Yeah.
but this is why I appreciated my trainer back in 2017. I mean, she still is my trainer to this day. But when I was like really physically working with her there at the studio, I mean, she's moved now, so we just do it, virtually. Um, she was mostly focused on the feminine body and the feminine physique and how it looks. And I'm like, yes. And for the first time in my life, finally, I had a feminine body where like I saw my curves. I wasn't all stocky and muscular. Like I told you, I build muscle very easily. And I really appreciated that because she knew the whole different types of workouts that would actually, you bring out your chest a little bit bigger. Working
Yeah.
on the chest muscle and things like that. There's like little hacks there. You're like, yeah, you don't need a breast lift. You can just work out your chest a certain way and
Yeah.
it naturally will lift. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So bless the trainers. They're wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and she was much of a warrior as well, too, to this day. And you actually mentioned the concept of feminine warrior in your approach. Now, how do you actually define this, and what does becoming a feminine warrior entail for women you coach?
I think it all started for me when I discovered the steel mace, as we chatted about. So the steel mace is an ancient weapon, really. So humans have been known to be, kind of attaching rocks to stick for thousands of years. That is really one of the primal weapons for defense and for hunting that humans have come up with. But in the last 2,000 years, the steel mace has been a tool to condition warriors and wrestlers in like ancient India and Pakistan and Persia. And in the last 10 years, it's come to the West, but it's still very much a little bit of the underground kind of fitness tool. But in my eyes, it is so versatile and so incredible in building that functional strength and mobility. And as you mentioned, you watch some videos and you can flow with it. So then you can very fluidly and masterfully, once you master it, transition from movement to movement. So it becomes this dance with martial arts, with a little bit of yoga, with a little bit of strength training, with a clear, edgy warrior vibe, all mixed in. And I love the versatility of it. I love that you can pick up a heavy mace and do a full-on strength training workout, like maybe an interval training workout. But you can also pick up a lighter one and literally just flow with it. So it's honoring where your body is at, because maybe some days you feel like doing a hardcore strength workout, but some days you're going to wake up and you still want to move, but you just don't have the energy, or you are in that kind of week before your period where your body is craving more of a gentle movement. So I love the versatility of it, and I love the look in women's eyes when I put the mace in their hands, because suddenly they become very fierce and powerful and invincible and totally badass. It's just somehow wired, I think, in our DNA. And I think that it's the complexity, and you kind of using it sometimes as a sword, and it's a weapon. So some of the movements are very offensive. You can see that they were designed to inflict pain and death. So I love that you can awaken the inner feminine warrior inside you by moving with this ancient tool.
Yes, and I know you're describing the stick and the rocks, but can you actually describe what it looks like for our audience? Because they're probably like, what does this look
What
like?
is it? What is the steel mace?
Yeah.
The steel mace is a stick about a meter, so just over 3 feet long for my Northern Hemisphere friends. And it has a ball at the end of it, and you can buy mace with obviously various weights. So you can start with as little as 5 pounds and go to like really super heavy. Some of my coaches are men, and they swinging some very heavy steel mace. So that's essentially what it is. And so you can use it just as you would use barbells, but you can also swing it around your body, and you can do incredibly complex movements that I think really promote that the ability of your body to move in all ranges of motion, because our bodies are designed to move in so many complex directions and movements. And I think that weightlifting doesn't really do it justice, because it's very two-dimensional. It's very much about up and down, side to side. But with the mace, you can transition and rotate and go up and down. And yeah, it's far more, you can create far more sophisticated movements with the steel mace that you can achieve even with kettlebells or barbells and dumbbells.
I think the closest thing I've ever gotten to something like that is a kettlebell. And I remember I was just swinging that everywhere. But like I was mentioning to you before, I wanted to look up what a steel mace is. And I was like, well, first off, it'll make a great weapon for if there's any intruders in the house.
Mm, mm.
Keep it underneath your bed.
Yeah, it's a weapon. It absolutely is a weapon.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Mm.
And then just to see this lady, she was out like in the beach, and just the movement she was doing, it made it very feminine, very beautiful. And like I can see that warrior within. And I
Mm.
was like, wow, what a graceful way to exercise. And then even like
Yeah.
holding it and balancing it and using it as squats and putting it up. I was like, there was like so many things I've learned within like 10 seconds of just watching her. I was like, this is neat. Now, like, can we get this?
Mm. Yeah, so steel mace, it's very easily bought on Amazon. There's plenty of
Okay.
places that sell them, and then you can just I post a lot of tutorials on my YouTube channels and on my Instagram page. I've actually just posted this week one of those flows, and I want to let women know that this is strength training,
Yeah.
because to hold the mace with one hand and swing it around your body, it's hard work. It's really hard work. And some of these coaches make it look really easy, but trust me, it is not, because the mace has kind of life on its own. And you really need to learn to, in a very nuanced way, work with it. And it gives you instant feedback too. If you just, let your concentration and focus go, then suddenly you're smacking yourself on the head or on the, on the back. And it requires a very intense focus. And that's what a lot of my clients and myself really appreciate, because you have to check out all the incessant thoughts that we get plagued with all day long, right? Like thousands and thousands of thoughts. And suddenly you have to so intently focus on, moving with this tool that is organically just swinging around your body. And I love how it's almost like a meditation, really. And I coach a lot of clients with mental health challenges and neurodiverse people, and they love it because it allows them that, time of stillness where they only have to focus on one thing and everything else goes. So it becomes moving meditation, because for a lot of people with mental health challenges, meditating doesn't work. They
Right.
will just sit in there ruminating in their thoughts. And for me, meditation never really worked for me either. But that is, to me, being incredibly present and connected to your body and to the world and to nature. And that is moving meditation for a lot of people.
Oh, yes. And speaking of your coaching, what are some of the things that your clients are saying to you when they work with you? Is there a success story that you can go ahead and share?
Yes, yeah. So I had, probably the one that comes into my mind is, I still have an incredible client who was a black belt in karate.
Mm.
She is a self-defense instructor and a jiu-jitsu brown belt and a competitive powerlifter. So incredibly accomplished person physically. But then she had a very traumatic surgery that put her pretty much on the couch for a year. It took her a year to recover from. And then she was faced with, I can't go back to what I was doing before the surgery. I'm in a really different place now. And it was about finding a coach and finding training that can very slowly bring her back to strength and mobility, and also some exercise and movement that will reconnect her back to her body. Because after you go through a really traumatic experience of having a acute surgery for, I don't want to really talk about the details, but you become quite disconnected from your body, because it's suddenly you're in a really, overnight you're in a really different place. And so for her, the steel mace was a very gentle movement to restore her core strength, give her, toned muscles again. And it reminds her of karate. In karate, they work
Mm.
with a bow staff, which is, a long stick. And so it, in a way, is sometimes transporting her back to that time, because she knows she can't quite go back to that anymore. But it is, so it doesn't become, I can't do that anymore and this is just hopeless, to, it's okay, I've just transitioned to something else that is perhaps more gentle, that is allowing my body a little bit of time to build the strength again and build the mobility, reconnect with my body and feel well again, and feel strong and powerful and invincible and all those things.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one. and sign up for your classes. Now, how actually do you have your classes? Do you focus mostly virtually, or is it one-on-one in New Zealand, where people do like, do
Yeah.
you do retreats and stuff there?
Oh, I'd love to do retreats. That would be amazing. So I have two businesses. I have face-to-face business for the lucky people who live in Wellington, New Zealand. And then I have a range of online programs. So just last December, I released the Warrior Woman, which is a steel mace program specifically designed for women. And then I do lots of free tutorials inside my Facebook group. And I have a YouTube channel that I have just started up where I give people just free tutorials so they can have a little taste to see if it's for them. Most people fall in love with it very quickly, but you know, it might not be your jam. And I'm a big believer in you have to find the exercise that you enjoy. Otherwise, what is the point?
Right. Yeah, especially like I said, the gym. I wasn't a fan of the gym, but I would go and not find any results because I would torture myself and go on the treadmill, work on the weights, and who knows if I was even doing the proper movement. But then I fell in love with Zumba though. I was like, oh, I love dance. Let me dance
Yeah.
some. So I really enjoyed that. And I do appreciate you mentioning that, depending on how we feel in the day, because every day our body's different, it's
Mm.
different. We wake up
Literally. Yeah.
differently, is
Mm.
literally, right? And and so I notice some days when I'm not feeling good, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to work out, but I know movement is very important. I would just stretch that day. Um, just some range of motion, like moving the shoulders back, maybe just even doing some deep breathing. I'm actually, that feels really good on my back shoulders right now as I'm doing these movements. And just gentle, even like a foam roller that
Yeah.
actually helps tremendously if you're not wanting to just hop on a foam roller and stretch or like it kind of
Mm.
just helps with the fascia, to be honest with you. It's like feels so good. But then there's days where I have that extra energy, then I will take advantage
Mm.
of that energy. I'm like, yes, let's go. Let me vacuum the house. Let me the household comes first before I do anything else. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But I will definitely take advantage of that. So I just love how you mentioned like really being in tune to the body, listening to the body, and because every day is going to be different. I
Mm.
like that.
And once you start realizing and or tricking your cycle, and then you know that the first 2 weeks of your cycle you feel really good and that's the time to really push in the gym or push with your exercise. But once you realize that after day 20, that is the time where your body is going to start asking for more gentle exercise. For a lot of women, once they learn this, they realize that they can get rid of the guilt, because sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not the day. I don't want to go to the gym, or I don't want to do my run, or I don't want to go to that hardcore yoga class. I just feel tired. And then they look at their phone and they're, that's right. It's, the last week before my period starts. It's okay. And that gets rid of that. Oh, don't be lazy, just push through, come on, let's do it, like it's been planned, I have to push through it. And I think often that's where our bodies get very unhappy with us, when we override those messages our body is sending us. It's like, I just want more rest this week. Can you do something gentle? Can you take me for a walk? Can you do a stretching session with me? You take me for a little swim or something. So you're still moving, because I don't think that's a really free ticket to be lying on the couch with a tub of ice cream and Netflix. Also, that is totally okay some days too. But, like we still need to move every day, because, you need to put those little deposits into your bank for old age. But it's suddenly you see your body in a completely different light, and knowledge is power. Knowledge is, once you know that, it's going to make everything so much easier. And yeah, get rid of that's the feedback I get a lot. I don't feel so guilty anymore about feeling like that.
Yeah, it reminded me about, speaking of Netflix, like we were just watching, movies with my husband and I, and sometimes I just cannot sit down. I have to just bring out the yoga mat, and just start doing some leg lifts or like some clamshell with my legs, doing some movement because I can't sit still too long. It hurts.
Mm.
Our bodies
Yeah.
are not meant to stay like at a desk for like 9 hours a day, or actually 8 hours a day. I don't know. Maybe some people even do 16 hours a day. Who knows?
Mm.
But we're
Yeah.
meant to like move around. I mean, our bodies are meant to move. Even thinking back in the day, like hunters and gatherers, right? So we were constantly
Mm.
moving, hunting, getting our food, gathering, whatever. We're just constantly moving. Now we're just like in traffic, going to work, at work, then we're in front of a desk, and then we're back in traffic. And then what do? We sit down and watch TV all day. So we really don't get that movement that we're supposed to be having. And our bodies will let us know. And that's why we get depressed. That's why we get sad. That's why we feel ill. And I noticing as I moving my body, even gently when I don't really want to be moving my body, that energy is coming out. It needs to be released, and otherwise it's stuck there, and I feel icky if I get stuck
Mm.
there.
No, you're absolutely right, Gina. Like our bodies are made to move. And now there's so much research coming out that your muscles are actually an endocrine organ, because when you are moving, your muscles are producing enzymes and hormones and proteins that have such incredibly beneficial effect on the rest of your body, specifically the brain. So movement is, and you know that, like when you go for a walk in nature, you feel so good.
Oh yeah.
Or just playing with your kids, or just moving. I think a lot of people sometimes forget how good it feels. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym, like I'm often so surprised at the weekends when I'm just pottering around the house, like popping into the garden and doing some cooking and cleaning. And suddenly you've got 25,000 steps on your Fitbit and you didn't even go for a walk. It's those, it's the difference between physical activity and exercise. Physical activity is just the things you do in daily life. Maybe you choose to take the stairs instead of taking the lift or elevator, and maybe you decide to park your car really far away from the shop you're going to, so then you just get a little bit of steps. And I think we've just gotten a little bit comfortable and lazy and don't really want to do much. And the world is so set up to make everything so easy for us. But I think that a little bit of friction is really good, and a bit of physical movement. But you can do that on your own in your own life.
Right.
Try to
Yeah.
little snippets of movement where you can.
Especially, yeah, I love the idea of parking the car further, because honestly, you're just wasting your time just trying to find a closer parking spot, and when everyone else is trying to find that parking spot at the shopping
Yeah.
store.
Yeah.
Because you'll already be inside and out of already the store if you had parked a little bit further. That's what I
Yeah.
always do. I will park far away and I will walk and then do my shopping, and then it's this extra steps. And
Mm.
it's you don't have to be in your car getting angry at somebody because they took your parking that was close
Yeah.
by to the entrance of the store.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway, yeah. Now you've actually outlined 3 essential exercise styles for thriving in middle life and beyond. Can you actually
Mm.
describe some of them and their
Yeah.
benefits
So,
too?
absolutely. So I think the number one is mobility. So that's probably what you were referring to when you said that you want to do some leg lifts sometimes and do a little bit of stretching in your shoulders. So I really strongly believe that mobility is one of the most important exercise modalities once you turn 40. So mobility builds strength in your joints and connective tissue, like ligaments and tendons. So when we are working hard in the gym, we're generally working on the strength of our muscles predominantly. But mobility allows us to look after our joints, and that is usually where injuries and pain will happen. So, when people say, "Oh, I feel so old," they're not actually old, but they're moving like an old person because they are not removing the tension, the stiffness, the little niggles you get, if you sit down for long periods of time in front of the computer, the aches, the pains, and eventually it will be an injury. So mobility is super simple. It's very easy, dynamic movements. You can do 5 to 10 minutes most days, and you would be aging in a really healthy way without the pain and aches that most people will be experiencing and associating with aging, whereas I firmly believe that it has nothing to do with aging, that it is simply the lack of maintenance. And just like you would take your car in for a service twice a year, you need to take your body for a service most days. So that is mobility in my eyes, is the service. And it's, I really look at mobility as just as you are saving for your retirement and you put a little bit of money away into your bank account so then you can retire and have fun. Think of mobility the same way. You are making small deposits into your longevity bank. And so when you are 60, 70, 80, you can withdraw because you've been doing the work diligently, because once you stop moving it, you will lose it. So it is really use it or lose it. It is absolutely true. So definitely that's number one, mobility. Then I would say strength training specifically for women, because as we are aging, we tend to lose lean muscle mass, which sadly gets replaced with body fat. But that also really affects the functionality of our body. So once you become a frail woman that doesn't have strong muscles, life becomes quite difficult, and women will often lose their independence, and it will lead to falls and fractures as well. We also lose bone density, and the best way to keep your bones nice and strong is to stress them in a good way with strength training. And it doesn't mean weightlifting in the gym. It means you can just do some bodyweight squats, you can do some bodyweight push-ups, you can hang off some monkey bars in your children's playground. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated, but we really need to be maintaining a certain level of strength. You don't have to be deadlifting 2.5 times your body weight, but you just need to be able to get in and out of a car easily, pick up your groceries when you're 70, get off the floor, sit down on a chair. So just basic level of strength. And then I would say walking, because walking is that low level exercise that is promoting cardiovascular health and mental health. Really, I think walking is wonderful for mental health, especially if you do it outside. So I recommend that women walk. And you mentioned the hunters and gatherers, and in those civilizations, and they still exist around the globe and get quite they get studied in detail. Women are very healthy, and they often have very little symptoms with perimenopause and menopause, and these women are walking 6 to 10 kilometers a day. So hunter and gatherers are walking a lot, and walking is really beneficial for us. So I would say these are my top 3: mobility, strength training, and then walking. You don't have to walk every day. You can just walk 3 times a week for 30 minutes. It has been proven also to be incredibly beneficial for brain and for mental health, that it is actually sometimes more effective than antidepressants. And in Japan, that's an interesting fact. In Japan, when you go to the doctor with a mild depression, they will recommend forest therapy, where you need to go into the forest 3 times a week for 30 minutes before you get any other medication or anything else. So, even doctors and scientists around the world, know that walking in nature has incredibly positive, benefits for physical, but mental and emotional health. You're always going to feel good outside, always.
And the wind
That's
is
where we
even good for
belong.
you.
The wind, the rain, the
Rain is good for
hail,
you.
the
Yes.
snow, the glaring sun. Yeah, we are meant to be outside in the elements, absolutely, without a doubt.
Yes, I love the wind on a hot day. That's my best friend, especially if you don't have AC. But I used to go hiking a lot, a lot, a lot. And then I started, doing my own business and stuff, and I got stuck in the house. But I remember those days when I was outside, and this is not the first time I've heard of forest therapy. Um,
Mm.
So true. I would take off my socks and put my feet in the dirt and ground myself and then just breathe. I would just sit on this rock and just see like everything beneath me. It was so quiet. And this was a moment where I felt like very still. And I would see other people, of course, like meditating and, just having their still moment. But it was just so peaceful that it's like, it's one of the best feelings ever is when you're really connected with nature and I was just hiking I love hiking and I even like the hard ones. One, one little trick that I love is I'll pack a lot of stuff in my backpack. That is my resistance. That is my
Yeah,
weight.
yeah.
Even my water bottle. Like if I have like my water bottle, if I'm just doing a walk around the lake, I'll walk this way, then switch, walk the other
Mm.
way, switch, because this is a weight as well. And so little
Yeah.
hacks like that, but I love the nature and I do find I'm the happiest when I'm outside in peace. It's just very peaceful. It's a gift, you know.
Yeah.
And it's
Most people
free.
are. And it's free, yeah. So for me, that's surfing too. I surf mainly, I think, for mental health more than anything, because being in the ocean is the same thing as being in some beautiful mountains or even a
Oh my
park,
God.
just being in nature. But there's the added element of the very feminine, ebb and flow and the waves and the energy. And yeah, I love that. That is probably my happy place too.
Yes. Well, Yana, where can our listeners go ahead and find you on social media or if they want to contact you to work with you because they're so inspired by you?
So I have a website, Jana-Barrett, Jana with a J, Barrett.com, and that's where you can have a little peek. And I have lots of free resources there for you to download. I have a free how to train in sync with your hormones, which is what we talked about, a free PDF guide, and some mobility routines to start you with mobility if people are uncertain in what it actually is and how it will make them feel. And then I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. And as I mentioned, I've got a private Facebook community where I run training once a week for my community. And then I have a range of programs that you can have a look on my website if the steel mace tickles your fancy, or you want to have a look on my YouTube channel and order a mace. They're not expensive, and you can get one from Amazon quite easily. You can get one anywhere in the world. So if you've got listeners who are not in the United States and Canada, that you can get them anywhere. They're actually quite easily obtained, and see what it feels like for you. And then if you feel like, a more structured program, then I have the Warrior Woman where I run, where you will get lots of videos and you will learn how to master it. And that comes with live classes. So you will get lots of access to my coaching support. But if anybody has any questions about this, just send me a message through Messenger or through my website. And I'd love to chat to people about their, health and fitness goals and how they want to exercise and explore some maybe slightly more unconventional methods on how to get strong and fit.
And have that inner feminine warrior.
No, because we all want a little bit of that, or a lot of that, actually. Yeah. I mean, imagine the whole world just filled with women that are strong and powerful. And I think that, it will really transfer from exercise. It spills into your everyday life too, because when you are strong and you feel powerful and you feel like a strong feminine warrior, you're going to take that into the world, and have it has a ripple effect on your family and workplace and community. So I think that's a beautiful thing to witness.
100%. I love that. Well, any
Mhm.
other last thoughts or words you'd like to share?
Just for people to move and to find, as I said, find an exercise that you enjoy, because exercise shouldn't be a chore. It should bring you joy, and it should be something that you look forward to. So if your current exercise routine is leaving you either broken or burnt out or maybe a bit bored, know that there is so much out there that you can try, and just do something else, do something that you enjoy and you look forward to.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to look forward to that still mace and your YouTube channel.
Yeah, have a look, have a look, and yeah, have a look on my Instagram. I've posted probably the most kind of feminine flow that I probably have ever put together just
Oh,
this
nice.
week. So yeah, it was quite fun to play around with that.
Well, I will be checking it out. Oh, thank you so much, Jana, for being on my show. I had a really nice conversation with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Gina. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.